What is going on, Trade Federation? Migoy here, back again with another Magic the Gathering Planeswalker deck budget upgrade. Upgrades for primarily the Chandra's Flame Fury Core Set 2020 Planeswalker deck. So Chandra's Flame Fury, the Burning Lady with the mono red fire deck. Alright, so if you remember from the unboxing, that was a very elemental tribal deck for mono red. But it had some cards that were not elementals, like you had the Ember Hauler, which wasn't bad because it was a burn spell with legs. You had the Pack Mastiffs, which were hounds. They weren't elementals. They weren't inherently bad, but they weren't super great either, and they don't really fit with the theme. I think you had also like a combat trick in Infuriate, which is not bad, but it's not great either. So I took those out, swapped them with some elementals within the standard set, and from Core 20 specifically, and some cards that are from like I think Ravnica Allegiance in the form of like this. So if you're gonna play standard, these are all within standard, so that's not too bad. Let's see where this goes. Alright, so mana base. Took out 2 lands. I don't remember quite what I swapped them with, but these are 23 lands. You could go with 23-24, since Flame Wave and Flame Fury are a bit high on the curve. You could go with 24. I added a 4th copy of Scorch Spitter since the deck comes with only 3, and this is a good ping for the Chandra Spitfire to trigger, so get a 4th copy of this for sure. These are cheap rares. I got the Chandra's Regulator, which if you're gonna activate a Chandra loyalty ability, you can pay 1 mana to copy it essentially. And also it acts as card draw because for 1 mana and tap you can discard a mountain or a red card to draw another card. So this is the normal art that can be found in the regular set, and this is the unique foil art that can be found in the M20 Fat Pack, or what they call it now, the bundle box. Both of which aren't too terribly expensive, so these are easy rares to swap in. For 2 mana too, that's not too bad. Alright, I added these 2 since I happened to pull 2 of them from booster packs. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, she makes out 2 1/1 elementals that have haste, so that could add to the count for this other card that I added. The Lavakin Brawler, a 2/4 for 4, which whenever this attacks, it gets +1/+0 based on the number of elementals you control, so including herself. So by herself, she attacks as a 3/4, but since everything else is an elemental, this can get pretty large. Shame that it has no trample, but that's the only downside to that. I kept the Wildfire Elemental because that's the... it's kind of like Spitfire, where it pumps each time you deal non-combat damage, which is burn spells, but it gives it to all other creatures you control. I took out the 5-drop elemental because I think that ability is too clunky and the body is it's too expensive for the curve 5. So for the cards I removed, I added in a set of Chandra's Ember Cats, which is an elemental cat that can tap for red as long as it's paid for an elemental spell or a Chandra Planeswalker spell. So along with Chandra's Flame Fury, Acolyte of Flame, and I also added the uncommon Chandra here, Novice Pyromancer, which can pump elementals for +2/+0. So it can also burn for 2, which there's your non-combat damage right there. So if you can't afford or can't find the rare Chandra Acolyte of Flame, you can go with a set or 3 copies of Chandra Novice Pyromancer. You can also go with a 3rd copy of Chandra's Regulator if you want. I think that's not a bad choice. So if you can't get the rare Chandra, you can go with either 3 copies of these 2 or 4 copies of Novice Pyromancer. You could probably go with the 3 of each, because I think that's a better option. Alright. So the new additions, yeah, like I mentioned, were the 4th copy of Scorch Spitter, a set of Chandra's Ember Cats, so because that's the additional mana that you need to cast your big Chandra Planeswalker spell, because she goes for a big 6. It doesn't pay for the tutor card, which is a 5, but that's fine. It does pay for... it can be used for everything else, like this elemental for the Spitfires, for the Chandra Planeswalker decks, and the Lavakin Brawler is an elemental in it by itself, so that's okay. For an additional burn, I'm keeping the 4 copies of Shock, and I've added a set of Skewer the Critics from Ravnica Allegiance. They're gonna rotate out together anyway, so for standard, I think it's not bad. I believe these have gone cheaper. They were only expensive when they were new because of the Pauper hype. Because it's Lightning Bolt, another Lightning Bolt in common, so that's good. So for 2 and a red, you can just deal 3 damage to any target. But if an opponent has lost life this turn that you want to cast this, you can pay instead for the Spectacle cost 1 red mana instead. So if you've dealt damage like via combat damage or via non-combat damage, like say with Shock or with the Novice Pyromancer Chandra, the uncommon one, where did she go? Well, whatever, yeah. Novice Pyromancer, there we go. The -2 on her is a burn spell, kinda. Also, any of the 2 abilities of Chandra's Flame's Fury, because she has a Shock on her plus and a Chandra's Outrage on her minus. So that can be non-combat damage used to activate the Spectacle cost of Skewer the Critics and burn them for 3. Alright, so another, I think, option you can do if you don't want to add like 3 copies of Regulator or Novice Pyromancers, you can just keep 2 copies of Chandra's Outrage in lieu of Chandra Acolyte of Flame. Because, like I said, I think these have gone up to as high as $10 at some point, and I think they're stagnating at 6, at least as of the recording of this. Plus, she's one of the more popular rares from Core Set 2020, so if you can't find this, like I said, you can go for 2 copies of Chandra's Outrage, or another copy of Novice Pyromancer, or another copy of Chandra's Regulator, and see what works for you. And that's going to be it for the budget upgrade of Chandra's Flame's Fury. We have turned this deck into a mono-red elemental tribal that it's not the fastest deck in the world, but it does what it wants to do, which is burn your opponent and swarm them with like fiery creatures, and then hopefully finish them off with like a giant Chandra Spitfire, or just kill them like just from burn directly. Alright, so if you like what you saw, please rate, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube things. We appreciate it. Like if you did enjoy it, dislike it if you don't, that's fine. Follow us on Patreon. For a cup of coffee every month, you can help support us, keep the lights on, get us better equipment to make better content for you. You will also get updates of anything we do as they go up or in their planning stage as like a Patreon exclusive announcement post. And you will also be part of the Grand Trade Federation, which we have established as what we like to call you guys, because that's cool, because we're Star Wars nerds at times. but anyway, don't forget, you guys, thanks for checking this out. Thanks for supporting us. And as always, keep it going.